Hello and welcome to the Wizards of Eem Podcast. We're here with special guest Jorbin from Elder Goblin Games.
Yes, indeed. We're doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking to Jorbin about the game that he is actually designing because we're both super interested. And I just want to know what makes you tick, man.
Your game is one of those games that is definitely a big inspiration. So this is Kismet.
Nice.
Yeah. Can I just say though, quite the fancy intro there. You got a graphic. It's all the whole shebang. It's awesome.
That graphic has been doing work for a lot of years.
Yeah, it's great. That's what an intro. I feel official.
And we got to thank you for a while back. You did a bunch of videos on Land of Eem, which was nice of you.
And you were very kind to us. I mean, like, I was honored by so much of what you shared about your experience with Land of Eem. Truly, like, thank you, man. It was humbling.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little behind the curtain here. I don't actually review games that I don't like. So if you don't hear me talk about something, it probably it's just because I haven't had time to get around to it. But also,
no, you just don't like it if you haven't talked about it.
Yeah, this is hard talk with Jorbin.
But yeah, this actually, if we're going to talk about the game I'm making a little bit, we have to talk about Land of Eem a little bit because this was a big inspiration for Seven Delving Sins is the game I'm designing. You guys had a lot of really cool mechanical stuff that, like, as I read it, I was like, this is my kind of game. Like everything from like the sort of set DCs or, like almost a built-in oracle.
Mm-hmm.
The way that, like, when you roll, you're going to get your yes ands and your no buts and stuff like that. And like, yeah, we can get into all that, but it was definitely, you guys wrote a kind of game that I enjoy playing, especially like everything from like an item driven kind of game, if that makes sense, to like something that has a shorter list of curated abilities rather than like you're just, I don't know. I grew up in a lot of Pathfinder and 5th edition, and it was like your shopping list of
giant menu of feats.
Yeah. And so I really I just opened it up and I was like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this game. It's got a lot of spunk and character, but it's also like really mechanically tight,
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And a lot of spunk in character. Can I quote you on that? That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So is that where you got your start with Pathfinder?
Yeah, 1st edition was my very first role-playing game.
And were you a player or a GM or both?
So I walked into my FLGS and I said, what are you guys doing up here? And there was a lot of noise and laughing and stuff and dice rolling. And they were playing Pathfinder Society, which is like their organized play for 1st edition. And I was like, can I get in on this? Is this like, and he was like, yeah, just jump in. We're going to do like a starter adventure, like build a character real quick, which was not very quick, but, yeah, that was my first
4 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was 1st edition. So there were lots of choices to be had. And then I played a ton of Pathfinder 1st edition, but I never actually ran it. I got ready to run a campaign and I was so sort of overwhelmed by the breadth of choices, if you've ever played Pathfinder 1st edition, I was building out like a villain, right? To set the players up against. And I spent like an hour just literally making the stat block for this villain. And then afterwards I was like, is this the game I want to play? I had a lot of fun being a player in Pathfinder 1st edition, but I moved on to 5th edition, and I played that for years up until kind of like the COVID times. So that's when I really branched out and got into like all kinds of different role-playing games. My favorites were like Burning Wheel and Blades in the Dark, and I just tried everything at that point. So, what about you guys?
A Burning Wheel campaign?
I really want to, but it's also like it's a game that like I haven't found a lot of people were like really chomping at the bit to play. And maybe it was me pitching it, because usually when I pitched the game, I was like, imagine if like Game of Thrones and like social role playing was really crunchy at the same time. And everyone's like, I don't know. I just want to like shoot lasers and be a wizard. So
It's like
Now, that was definitely one of those games.
Shire vibes.
It's one of those games that I read like whenever that was, like 2010s or before. That I found inspiring, but like I knew that I would probably never play it.
yeah, I did end up playing a good bit of it, but it's also like, how do I put this in a nice way? I really like Luke's game design style, like, but also this was a time when layouts were very different, right?
Yeah.
Like layout design, I feel like has come a long way in just a few years as far as role playing games are concerned, and I think for the better, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's sort of a renaissance of usability happened, which I think was delightful to me, because even though I have a ton of older tabletop role-playing game books, and I've definitely read through them, I've talked to Ben time and time again about like how I'll see like an old D&D adventure and it's like impenetrable to me in terms of like, okay, like where do I start? How do I wrangle all this information? It's like a ton of work.
Yeah, it was hugely influential on us when we were thinking about how we wanted to present Land of Eem. As, I mean, obviously probably the gold standard is OSE.
Mm-hmm.
So that as an inspiration, and then just the inspiration of not repeating what everyone else does in the past, which is like walls of text. How do you read this at the table without derailing the game for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, actually, I talked in my review of the Mucklands book. That was like one of the things I was really trying to stress to people in that video is, even though this is like a 430-page book, it doesn't feel overwhelming like a 300-page adventure. And like, I'm just, not to beat a dead horse, but like in like older D&D sort of adventures, it's like you're supposed to sort of read front to back and like comprehend the whole adventure. Whereas like Mucklands, it's like, just take this section, and then like play it out and almost like read as you go,
Yeah.
That's much more, as a father and a guy with a full-time job who does YouTube on the side, that's much more appealing design-wise for me. Like, I don't have to just cram it all in my skull at like the first day before I run it,
We've said multiple times, please don't do that. Like,
yeah, don't try to read it all and comprehend it. It's too much. Even Ben and I can't remember everything that's in there all the time. That's how our actual play functions, is Ben relies on me not having it open and not remembering things in the book. But, but like, yeah, it's, and honestly, like for me, it's not only about how I don't have any time. I don't, like, I'm right there with you. I'm like a father of a young kid doing a ton of work. Like I don't have enough time, but it's about getting more gameplay actually in because of it all, because it's accessible and you can like pick it up right away. And I'm really I'm much more so gravitating towards games that provide experiences like that. When I want to dive deep into something, I find myself reading a novel. It's like I want to read a character story, not necessarily lore for 100 pages that has no context or meaning or emotional impact, other than these are the things that you want to try to weave in for characters. Oh, and by the way, you're going to struggle to schedule all your friends to play it, and it's going to take forever to get it prepped. And so it's got to be like out of the box. What can I do? What's built there for me? And that's the kind of stuff that I'm really drawn towards.
Well, Jorbin was telling me a little bit about Seven Deadly Delving Sins, and so I feel like this is a good segue.
Yeah.
into the reasoning behind why you wanted to make a game. So what's your elevator pitch and what is your inspiration?
Yeah, so elevator pitch it's the game that you play when your other game falls through. so I wrote it because I feel like we've all had that night where it's like everybody's ready to go. We're gonna have our game. This is like our long running campaign, and then you get all the texts like 5 minutes before the game starts, and it's like, well, it's just me and and like I still, like maybe we still want to hang out, have a beer or something and roll some dice. Well, Seven Delving Sins is the game that you can hopefully just like open up, roll some dice, create a scenario, and play through it. Like it's designed really to be a co-op experience where like someone is being the overseer is what I'm calling my game master, because they're not really the game master. They're part of the game. They're playing too with a character, and they're experiencing the fun alongside whoever does show up. So that's the really long-winded version of the pitch, but it's a game designed to be hopefully run co-op, though you can still run it like the regular way if you so choose.
I love that idea.
So do I.
Thank
so
you.
do I.
Yeah, and it kind of came about because I played a few solo games, and there were things that I did enjoy about them, but I thought, like, what if I could do a similar experience with someone else still sitting at the table with me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how deep into designing it are you?
I'd say I'm going to say 95% of the way there. Like it's a rules light game. And honestly, like I said, I'm stealing a lot of things from other games. Land of Eem definitely is one of them. It's like I'm using very like loose language to describe like class abilities so that it's open-ended creatively.
Yeah.
And they're like one sentence. It's like, hey, overcome an obstacle that's standing in your way or whatever, or create a clue in this scene. Like I almost verbatim think I stole like the bard ability or something like that. But it's this idea that like, let's build the story together. So all that to say, like a lot of the design is lightweight and pretty much done. What I'm trying to do is make sure there are enough tables to create like that catered experience that I'm wanting to see at the table, if that makes sense. Because like I said, I played solo games that I was like, I just want like a little bit more spark to like really ignite my imagination. And it's just not quite there. Like I want a few more tables to go to say like, maybe I run into a hazard now, or like maybe the characters decide to parlay with me instead of just being a combat or whatever. So that's kind of the stuff I'm like massaging out that's still left. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
I can so relate to that desire because I love, like I said, I'm like I gravitate towards I gravitoid towards I gravitoid towards
It's a new creature in Land of Eem.
a gravitoid. It'll be in Space Eem. You heard it here first.
Awesome.
I gravitate towards the rules light, but with that catered experience. Like rules light means the mechanics can be easy, but you can still dive into the world and the conflicts and like all these different things that populate the challenge, whatever it is that you're facing. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm really excited to work on. So it's cool to hear that there's other people that think like us. And I think that's exciting. What's the vibe of the game?
Corpo Dungeon Crawler is the vibe.
Nice.
It's going to be like you work for Delver Corp and you're the B team being sent in, and it's like everything's about like doing it for the company, that sort of thing. And
I feel like you engineer this game to delight Ben and I and make us laugh because we love this.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I have to put Land of Eem at like the top of my inspirations list because it's for sure really high up there. And but it's going to be like a sort of OSR OSR-inspired. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
OSR because mechanically is not OSR.
And what is OSR? What is it?
But it's going to have that gritty, like, elves and dwarves in every picture going into a dungeon, black and white.
Love it.
But with like a little bit of corporate silliness injected in there, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's
Makes
even
total
a term.
sense.
It makes total sense to us. Look who you're talking to.
No,
we get it, man. It's amazing.
No, seriously, I'm not just trying to gush, but I read Land of Eem and I was like, all those stuff like the used to be forest being cleared out because of the Dungeoneer. I was just like, this is so my vibe.
I've often wanted to like do an adventure that is like has that vibe specifically.
Yeah,
because I feel like we sort of like touch on it, and there's a lot of quests that have to deal with it, but there's no like, all right, this is it. You guys are working for the company and you're going into this dungeon,
Yeah. And I hope that comes through in the way that I wrote the game, because it is still very like rules light, even in like the wording describing stuff to the game master or the overseer, because I didn't want it to be, I don't know, sometimes you open a rule book and it's like, okay, I get it. That's more than I need. You know what I mean? Like,
like a gamer's game. Like, I love that too. There's a tabletop game that I play. Well, I barely ever play it, but when I do play tabletop games, I'll play 1-page rules for like a Warhammer clone.
Yeah.
And it's like a gamer's game, and then it's like the rules are on 2 pages. I fill in the blanks. Like it's just like straight up like one sentence here, one sentence there, and I'm like, I got it. And because that exists, it's the only way that my brother and I can ever like play a Warhammer game. And this happens once every 2 years, but like still, I just love that. I love the gamer's game, like tight, no over, no, not using too many words when you don't need to.
And it'll work because you're targeting gamers. It's not like with Land of Eem, exactly. we had to be like, okay, we got to explain some things because we might get some like new people playing the game.
Yeah, and there's definitely like there's a season for that, right? Like when you're first starting out playing games, I loved my 5th edition books telling me what a fireball looks like. Now I just want to know that it does 2d6 damage or whatever it is. So, yeah, and I don't even, I don't think I think Land of Eem is words medium is what I call it. it sits in a nice, middle ground where it's like it gives you a little bit of like flavor, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But this is going to be like I took a lot of inspiration from Shadow Dark because Kelsey's writing is so terse, and since this is going to be a game that you're mostly like playing because your other game fell through, I don't want someone to have to open it up and be like, okay, where was that rule about like what happens when you're bleeding out or whatever?
Yeah.
It's just like it's a sentence, or maybe like 2 or 3 bullet points at the most. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can riff on more inspirations if you want.
Well, actually, my next question was going to be, what part of the process do you feel has kicked your butt, if any?
Oh man, there's been a lot of things. I did a few play tests, and I'll just say like this is. I've written one other game that will never see the light of day. It was like my first game, and it was just...
We have a lot of those.
So, like, needlessly fiddly, and I play tested it with a friend who was very gracious, and he gave me good feedback, and I basically shelved that away. All that to say, like, play testing can be, like, it's where the rubber meets the road, but, like, you learn a lot. But you also have to, like, I'm going to say kill your darlings in a way, because like there might be something in there that you're like, but isn't this cool? And then everyone else is like, no, it's really not. I think it's getting in your way, dude. And you have to kind of eat a humble pie and be like, yeah, actually, you're right. This version of armor really sucks. So if you're out there and you're like designing a game, hear the feedback and be able to like decipher like what is your I'm going to say game design goals, if that makes sense, versus like what is just like someone's opinion, because sometimes they're right. Sometimes you're like, yeah, this armor does suck. But then sometimes you're like, well, one of the goals is this, and it fits into the main ideals of the game. So like, I think it needs to stay, and like being able to, like navigate that really is
It's difficult.
a pretty big challenge of designing. But I'll add this because this is fresh. I'm designing an adventure to sort of be like your introductory adventure. And I realized something that's making it really difficult. So I designed the game to be able to be played normally or as like a co-op or solo experience, whichever. And so when I was designing this adventure, I realized like I have to hide some information from you and make it exciting to explore through a co-op method, but present just enough so you know what's going on and you know how to interact. It almost became this game of like writing like a choose your own adventure and trying to figure out like how much to give away and how much to sort of hide behind the next page, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
It's a really weird, I feel like it's sort of uncharted territory as far as like adventure design goes. Because like, I don't know if I've ever seen an adventure that says like, if you do this thing, read on. Otherwise don't, like stop here kind of stuff.
Right. Turn to page 37.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very choose your own adventure.
All right.
So there must be some examples. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but something more choose your own adventure.
I don't know what I was reading, but I distinctly remember thumbing through a TTRPG that did like the trick that you'll see in like tabletop games or even like just word games, which is the event answer key was upside down text.
Yeah, that was
like you've seen that before.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like you get it in like a trivia game does that occasionally or something, but like I don't remember the name of the game. I'm sorry. But I remember thumbing through it probably at a convention.
I was gonna say it's very like Betrayal at House on the Hill, or they have like their own booklet maybe. So maybe that's not.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Down, but yeah, I had a discussion with some other friends like that are also game designers, like Peter from Tales from Elsewhere, and we were throwing out like layout design methods to try to figure out like what would make the most sense here. Is it the upside down text? Is it a separate booklet? Is it a glow in the dark black light letters? We were just throwing everything at the wall and trying to figure out like
that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah,
like invisible ink.
Every time that comes up, like people are like, "That's so cool," but then I'm like, "Yeah, but who has a black light?"
Yeah, that's a really.
And how much is that going to cost?
That's the first place. But what's the production
cost per unit goes up by like $15.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that it comes with the black light or some other version of it that will read the text,
or those red glasses that let you see.
Oh yeah, that
like fold like the 3D glasses.
Yeah.
I don't know. We went way too deep down the rabbit hole with that one. It was fun, but not
going back to play testing, because James and I are knee deep in this right now with our classes or play testing.
Yeah.
How many people are you play testing with? Are you running games at conventions and like game stores and stuff?
Not so far. Although there's an online convention coming up called Crit, Community Run Infinite Tabletop, and I am going to be running 7 Delving Sins for that convention. Just that all my games are going to be 7 Delving Sins. Other than that, it's mostly been folks in the Discord. I have a pretty good Discord that like people are just willing to jump in on their lunch break and test a scenario, or like we ran a couple of full games, like adventures, whenever I was actually playtesting these couple of adventures that I'm writing. And so it's mostly delegated to my Discord or folks in like online kind of situations. I've thought about bringing it to my home group, but we're playing a pretty intense game of like Pirate Dark, This is what I'm going to call
nice.
it. Shadow Dark Pirate Board kind of mix. So I would hate to like pull the rug and be like, play test my game.
Now that I have your attention.
So, yeah, mostly the Discord though. Like I think when the Kickstarter goes live, I'll probably open it up to folks to just be like, here's the quick start guide.
Yeah.
Like get in there, tell me what's wrong, tell me what doesn't work for you. I'll probably create like a questionnaire just to make sure that people have somewhere to like put feedback, because I feel like it's going to come fast once it's out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Like, we've put out classes on Patreon, new Land of Eem classes over the last couple of years now, or I don't know how long it's been, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I've found it kind of difficult to take people's feedback and just know exactly where to go with it. It's like a lot easier to play in our group and watch people play the class and like see over the course of like 60 sessions how it's being played.
Yeah. Well, I heard it was either Matt Colville or James Introcaso talking about Draw Steel. And one of the things that they said they've really refined during like the development of Draw Steel was like their process for receiving good feedback really changed. Like they really dialed in on like how to get feedback that like understands the principles, the design principles of their game, if that made sense.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really insightful, because people do want to help, they do want to have input that's useful, but then a lot of times people are just like, I don't like this thing. And you're like, okay, well, that doesn't help me like make it better.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, can you tell me like what you would change it to? Like good feedback is important as long as it is useful,
Right.
And it's like if several people are saying like, yeah, there's something up with this, like that gives you a good idea. But if one person is just saying one thing about this one thing, like how do you know if
that's not actionable? Yeah,
is actionable.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's what I was kind of getting at earlier about like feeling it out and just knowing. You have to really like almost like map out, I feel like, your own design principles for your game. Keep throwing out that term really loosely, like it makes sense to anyone, but like knowing what your game is about, right? Like,
yeah.
Like for me, it was like, you're rolling 2d6, you're getting a 7 or better. That's like the baseline. Everything can sort of be remembered off the top of your head from like a character perspective. You have like a class ability, an ancestry ability, and a background bonus. And it's like, that's it. Keep it super, super simple. Everything else is like gear and equipment.
Yeah.
There's somewhere I was going with this.
Design principles.
Yeah. Your design principles. I do think there's a great quote by, I want to say it's Stephen King, and this is only tangentially related, but like when he's talking about writing his books, he says, if it's my opinion versus one person's opinion, I'm going to go with my opinion. If it's my opinion versus 6 people's opinions, I'm going to take another look at that and say like, okay, there's something that's not connecting here.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a prolific writer, but like,
now, and I say this, like I have strong opinions about our game. But I felt like it was a lot easier to have a vision with the core 6 classes than these expanded classes.
No, I mean, I think I get like a question that's underneath the question is, it almost feels like those core classes feel really tight to you, probably. Like they feel really integral to the game. Whereas like as you add on, it's like maybe you're getting a little bit wider and further away from that original core idea.
Yeah.
Is that what it feels like? Maybe I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I think I've never built a game and then layered onto it. So this is outside of my experience.
Yeah, we haven't either. We're still
not that many people do as it is.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure too. It's like with anything that like develops a fan base, you also want to be respectful to the people that really enjoy your core game or your core thing, right?
Yeah.
And so anytime that you're building on it, you're like, is that first thing, it has to be balanced or whatever the word is in line with that thing. So I'm sure it only gets,
and it can't have power creep. Like
yeah,
right,
that's
you're
huge.
trying to make it as good, but then what if you tune it too high? And so there's all these moving parts.
Well, I think it's, it shows that you care because like a lot of games don't, they'll just be like, power creep's fine. There's new shiny bells and whistles. And
Yeah. Now you got to buy the new editions so you can have the power creep.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it at least
everywhere.
Shows that your goals, I think, are in the right place. That like you want it to be just as fun as that original thing without being some new shiny that you have to go buy because it's better and more powerful or whatever,
I totally agree with that. Ben and I try to approach it. We approach it like we approach like our book series. It's like we want to. It's like got to be timeless. It has to stand the test of time, so that when you pick up a new class, it blends perfectly into the world that's being expanded, and you can play it, and you can find the fantasy flavor that you're looking for when you jump into the game, without it being like you said, like that new shiny object. It doesn't really fit into the square peg exactly, but it's shiny. I totally get that.
Or tonally even,
yeah, right.
Here's another example. Like, I feel like every game has that, fantasy game has that moment where they're like, do we put the gunslinger class in?
Yeah.
Because now it's a weird West or like a, not cyberpunk. What is it called? Steampunk or something.
Yeah.
It's like, does it change the whole vibe that we originally were going for now that we're opening this can of worms,
Or does it have a landing pad?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the wizard.
Like adding just limitless magic to the mix and how that
that's I feel like that is a bigger can of worms than probably most people realize, because if your game has like a solid magic system structure, then that's one thing. But if you're like, now there's real hard magic in the world that a guy can just do, that totally changes everything, because I know you guys have like the gnome, right? Like that's sort of your.
We have the gnome, and like there are wizards in the land of Eem, but our lore is that they're rare or are all dead, but they're emerging. They're like magic, like in that way is emerging, and that's absolutely per the land of Eem's, creative plan. So it's this, it's all a roadmap for us that we're following, but introducing it in the way that we wanted to achieve is a challenge, which is why playtesting is so important and why we were so adamant about making sure that it's playtested tightly before we publish it into the player compendium that's got all these options and all these bells and whistles that really give people the flexibility to expand their characters in a number of ways.
And don't get me wrong, I think we're generally there and it's a good class.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait to play it myself.
There's tweaking that needs to be done. And I think it's specifically in terms of like expressing our vision so people understand it.
Yeah.
And this is how you do it. As opposed to like them receiving something that's like very different than the other classes and just like not knowing exactly how we envision it.
Right. And I think getting the wizard into the actual play, I think will help a lot. Like I intend to play the wizard how we envision it the opportunity of playing a wizard would look like, which I think will provide lots of examples of how we're thinking about it and definitely change the narrative around it. But it'll also let me poke holes in it and be like, well, this is kind of weird, or this is something that I'm always forgetting, or, even though we created it, it may not just blend well. And that's definitely happened with classes from the beginning when we were, playtesting them before. And George, who's on our actual play and is like the chief playtester at Land of Eem, because he's great at poking holes in everything and comically trying to exploit his power against Ben. He's definitely like been like stuck. Like I can't do, like I'm not designed to be able to use this ability, or I can't, like whatever, or this is really good when applied in this particular way. So I guess what I'm saying is playtesting is important, and I'm beating the heck out of the horse, but
No.
it's like kind of where the rubber meets the road, and everything goes from like a really great like creative energy to like to a magical thing. Like it's like, wow, it really unlocks. It doesn't take that much to start to see where it'll smooth out and be something amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and you can always just you can make your wizard a prestige class, and then no one can play it until they're 10th level.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want to change into an animal? Wait till level 7.
No, it's yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that like that's the difference in just a couple brains versus like, because like I've discovered in my 30s I am whatever the kids are calling neurospicy or something, and that my brain don't work the way normal brain do.
I've never heard neurospicy until right now.
I feel like it gets thrown out all the time now. And so like it's good to have some other people look at your thing and be like, okay, this might make sense to your brain, but like the way you wrote this sentence is totally like, I don't think it's relaying the information in the way you think it is.
Oh, that's where an editor comes in.
Yeah. I wish I had one of those.
Before you publish one, you should definitely pass it through an editor.
Yeah, pass it through an editor.
Because rules writing is very weird.
Yeah.
And that will often be the case. Like you're just trying to make sense of it, like from your brain onto the page. And sometimes like it's just like too wordy. It doesn't need to be as long-winded.
Yeah, or it like just lacks like a syntax and a structure that makes it easier to comprehend what the ability does quickly in a pattern that's shared with all the abilities. Or
yeah, a consistent language.
The consistent language. That's I have a big challenge with that. And like Ben will look at what I've done and be like, well, you do this like 6 different ways. And that's just the way my brain is trying to make sense of it. But without that editing pass, like it can be a bit of a mess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's so important. I feel like this is designer stream now. We're like just talking to you guys. When you're making your fantasy RPG Heartbreaker, remember, consistent language is key.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of boring, but it's true. It's like it's an important part of making it all click.
If you want to send me your editor's number,
yeah, no problem.
Live stream here. We'll just put it at the bottom for anyone who needs an editor.
But you're really right about like multiple heads just taking a look at what you're working on. I think that's great advice, because no matter what Ben and I are working on, if we have an idea, sometimes Ben and I will have an idea that we immediately stop ourselves. We're like, oh, it's a bad idea. And I'm not, but the other will pressure the other to share the bad idea anyway, because for our process, it's just like, well, what could come out of that? Like what could come out of that bad idea discussion once I hear it? Like maybe we riff and then suddenly there's this other rule that is simple and cool and solves many problems or whatever. So that like just bouncing ideas back and forth, like even in the most social, non-professional setting, can be a really powerful tool as well to hone it all,
Yeah, even more so if you're like me, I'm sort of designing in my own little echo chamber, which is just me, alone in my closet.
But I think that's a lot of people. That's like a lot of people. That's how they do it. I don't think you're an outlier at all.
No, and you have to start somewhere. You can't just show up and be like, I have an idea of a game, but it is nothing yet. You have to have some at least basic structure written down so you can be like, hey, is this cool? Like, do you guys get this? Or is it just me alone in my wizard tower just scribbling nonsense on the wall? But,
which is also awesome.
It's a different kind of awesome, but
yeah,
it's not as good for like making games that you have to publish.
Yeah, there's a big difference between your adventure notes as a GM and then sharing that with actual human beings.
Yeah,
for sure.
And and to go back to like kind of adventure writing stuff, that's kind of what I realized. I wrote an adventure And I was like, this adventure rules. I love it. It's so fun. I ran it for 6 people and they loved it. It was so fun. But then it's like, can I translate that to something someone else can read and have the same amount of fun?
Yeah.
Or was I the missing piece in what's written down?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So
Right.
that's a
You
whole
can't
different level.
manufacture your deep love and passion out of the box exactly. You have to like sprinkle that in to kickstart the GM or the overseer in your case.
You just gotta imagine that you're a GM looking at this writing and like, will I, as the GM, understand what's happening? That's how I always look at things. Like, what's missing here? What is it going to take for another person to get this to the table? And an editor does help a lot with that. But I've actually never run or
writing down need editor real quick.
So the magic's really made.
It's weird because I've never actually run a published adventure that I just didn't change in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just like wasn't making sense in some way, or I thought I'd just go in a different direction. So I don't know if that always happens with everyone or what.
I think it does, but I'm curious what your opinion is.
I may have heard this somewhere else, so I think I'm stealing it a bit, but I think that deep down, all game masters are part game designers. Like I think there's something about like the position of being the person who wants to run the game or steer the game or whatever, facilitate the game, that you have, if not a creative streak, a sort of engineer's brain or something that makes you look at an adventure and go, I would have done this a little bit different, you know, whatever it is, that one room, that one arc of it, or maybe even like the motivation behind the adventure, whatever it is, you might just go, yeah, this is pretty good, but you know, what if it's your own murder you're solving rather than this random guy? You know, I don't know. That was the weirdest example, but
that's that's super deep. No, that is really well put. I think that's super true, actually.
All right. Well, good podcast.
No, I have a couple more questions for you, then we can actually wrap it up. But like, one, if somebody, what advice would you give somebody who's just scribbling their first ideas into a notebook?
Oh man, for a game specifically, I would say like first, really, I keep using the word design principles, but like figure out what the ideals of your game are. Like, what's your true north of like the system? Because like for me, I'm just going to give an example. I wanted it to be a game you could basically, it could almost run itself. Like, you know, you would only need to make the interpretations of the results, and maybe you did it collaboratively. So figure out what like really matters to your game and like is the reason that you wanted to write it in the first place. Because if you're just setting out and you're like, I want to be a game designer, I want to write a game, that's all well and good, but like, what does your game do that no other game is doing, or at least doesn't do in the way that you wish it did? Does that make sense?
It does.
So I'd say like really, you know, nail down those like couple of bullet points that like you're setting out to design the game to do, you know, and stick to it.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Shave the stuff that doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It's always great to connect with you, and it feels so natural to like jump on a call again and just jaw about games.
Yeah,
how can we catch up with your game? How can we learn more about Seven Delving Sins? Where do we follow you? How do we get into Jorbin's business?
Yeah, so I have, there's a couple of methods. I mean, obviously, Elder Goblin Games, my YouTube channel. I've been trying to I'm going to do some more live streams where I talk about game design stuff in the near future, because as like the game gets more finished and I'm ready to like put it in front of more people, we're going to talk about it. So the YouTube. I have a Patreon, Elder Goblin Games. I haven't been as updated with that, and then I have like a newsletter, which is done through. I want to say it's Substack. Duh. But yeah, Substack, Patreon, YouTube are the three. I don't know how to not answer a question long-winded, apparently. So
I have a question about your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like, how do you plan videos? Like, what how far in advance are you planning? Because James and I, we're struggling. We're seat of the pants. Like, just
here's how the sausage is made, ladies and gentlemen, of the Wizards of Eem podcast.
No, our Wizards of Eem videos have become spottier. I mean, people will know that.
Yeah. I mean, mine too. Yeah, I was going to say, it's generous of you to think that I have a plan. I kind of just get a book and then I'm like, this book's cool. I want to talk about it. Or like, I also have, I have a second channel called Elder Goblin Bard, which initially I wanted to not just be about role-playing games, but other things like music and video games and whatnot. And I was going to try some more experimental stuff. I'm saying all this to say, like, I kind of just like pick a subject sometimes that I'm interested in. I write down 3 or 4 bullet points and then I just ramble about it for like 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do.
It's almost exactly our workflow. So in a way, you've made me feel better about who I am.
Well, good. But on my more professional channel, I guess I'll call it. Typically, I'll get a product like a RPG, either adventure or system, and I'll read through it. And I will like literally just have a notepad next to me and I will write down every random thought that I have about it while I'm reading. And then I'll cross out like 90% of them. And then I will just like make a video from those bullet points. And it's usually a mess. And that's just how my neurospicy brain works. But that's what I do. As far as upload schedules, I don't even know how to explain that to another human being. You just, you try to make a video and you try to edit it and then you try to get that video out the next week while you're making the other new video the same week. And sometimes it works.
I don't know why I found that so funny. I don't know how to explain that to another human being.
I don't. It's
No, I know where you're coming from though. I laugh because I feel it.
It's like between the job and the kid and everything else that life throws at you, you're like, am I going to get a video out this month? I hope, but you do the best you can. That's
right.
all.
We're in the same boat.
It's fun too, though. Like, I will say this to anyone who's listening, and it's just like, I want to do YouTube. Don't go into it expecting you will make money. Do it because it's something that you really enjoy, and that's really like. Yeah. I came into this wanting to talk about games that I felt like no one was talking about. And so my whole channel shtick was like, I'm the guy who doesn't talk about D&D and Pathfinder. Ooh, I'm the guy talking about all the indie games. And it's, it's been good for me in that way because I am talking about stuff that I actually want to talk about and not just doing it because it's like viral or what makes sense or whatever. So
yeah. No, we're the same way. We're not doing this to make money. We're really doing it so we can just talk about the stuff that we are passionate about and also connect with the Land of Eem community because the Land of Eem community is amazing. Like on the Discord and Patreon, super supportive, really creative people. When people are talking about rules on the Discord, the community answers rule questions before I could even get to it. And it's just like some of the answers are far more thoughtful and considered than I would even provide. They're just wonderful people. And YouTube and
Jorbin
social
is part of the Land of Eem community.
That's true.
He's rocking the Eem tag.
He is rocking the Eem tag. But it's a great way to just connect with like-minded people and, of course, to all the people that support us.
Well, and that just real quick, it goes back to what we were saying about like playtesting. It's like more minds are going to be better at answering those questions than if it was just you and Ben. Like you said, they get to it before you ever do. And in sometimes more maybe insightful ways than even we as the game designers know how to answer certain questions. So
Right.
it's always awesome to see other people like understanding the thing that you've made and like what makes it tick. So
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jorbin, for talking to us. You've been a
thanks
great
for
guest.
having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. This has been great.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll run into you guys again at Gen Con. So
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
PAX or whatever, wherever we can. It'd be a blast.
So go play your favorite role-playing games or else.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, that's all we've got for today on the Wizards of Eem podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Jorbin, for joining us. We look forward to seeing everything about your new game and more videos. I'm a fan of your channel, of course. No surprise. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks, everybody, on the Discord, supporting us on Patreon, and we'll see you soon.